Wednesday, September the 29th. It seems that the cabinet decision yesterday allowing the TOT to go ahead and run its own 3G project. The NTC, National Telecommunications Commission, which used to be seen as very powerful, suddenly lost all the clout.
Suddenly they found itself like a nobody.
Really?
Yes.
So now what is NTC going to do?
Well, there was a serious board meeting today at the NTC, and this is exactly the question that they're talking about. They made, the commissioner made a decision to write a letter to the Supreme Administrative Court,
Right.
asking what power do we have? What are we exactly?
I think they're in bad trouble because they've suddenly lost all the self-confidence they used to have.
Yes, following the court injunction last week, and then yesterday the government decided basically to take control of the Thailand 3G development. Also, the CAT will also be proposing its plan to buy into the Hutchinson also. So basically, two major projects are going back to the hand of the government.
Meaning that the NTC feels that the government has usurped the power from NTC.
Yes, that's the feeling, and there's some also confusion whether what they should do regarding these two projects that the government seems to have taken away from its hand.
Well, technically, legally, the government can let TOT and CAT proceed with their 3G projects because they are state enterprises under the government. The NTC's power rested in the fact that they could decide how to allocate the frequencies. But the frequencies for TOT and CAT are already with them, right?
Yes.
So this is why NTC has suddenly found itself in a powerless position after the court decided that they cannot go ahead with the bidding of the new 3G project.
That's all related issues because these two new projects also involve consumer interest, and it's in the NTC constitution to look after consumer interests.
Yes.
And apparently the NTC is not happy with the slow progress of the two projects. Apparently the NTC is worried that if the TOT is allowed to be in charge of the 3G development, the private operators will be dragging their feet in building so-called base stations. So that will affect consumer interest.
Because TOT will invest nearly 20 billion
almost
in building the infrastructure. So there's no need for any private companies to go and build the same kind of infrastructure.
Yes, and then the NTC also worry that if the TOT is in charge of this, it's going to be progress very slowly.
Okay.
So this is one of the questions that the NTC will be asking the Supreme Administrative Court. And also the project involve other powers of the NTC as well. The licensing power, the interconnection charges, and all those key issues that suddenly it found itself very confused.
Well, I don't think the administrative court can tell the NTC how much power it has because it's not a duty of the court. But I think the NTC has done this to sort of tell the world, the whole world, that the government has deprived NTC of the power it should have. I think it's a battle between NTC and the government, but the NTC is going to the court and indirectly telling the public that we are not happy and please check on what the government is doing for the TOT and CAT.